Hey, YouTube, and welcome back to a new video with me, Rams Fan YT. In today's video, we are now going to be watching live the FA Cup final. Man City versus Chelsea. A great occasion all round. Chelsea might need to win this in order to get any chance of playing European football next season. Man City, well, they have their eyes on the treble. So plenty to play for in this one. I set in my predictions video early on this week, but I thought Man City were going to win 3-0. I still maintain that. Let's start off by going through the lineup, shall we? We'll go with Chelsea side, which is Sanchez predictably in goal. A back four of Hato, Colwill, Fofana, and Gusto. They're playing a 4-2-3-1. So the two holding midfielders are Moises Caicedo and captain Reece James. Man, is interesting to have him in a holding midfielder role. I wonder if SofaScore's made a mistake there. And they've got Cucurella, Enzo Fernandez, and Cole Palmer as the front three, with João Pedro as the figurehead up top. For Man City, they're also playing a 4-2-3-1 with James Trafford in goal. Nunes, Kosanov, Mark Guehi, and Nico O'Reilly making up the back four. The two holding midfielders is Rodri and Bernardo Silva, who is going to be the captain today. Very strong midfielders that. Attacking trio up front, we've got the wingers Jeremy Doku and Semenyo, with Omar Marmoush sitting in behind Erling Haaland. So two very strong teams. On the bench today for Callum McFarlane's team, the interim coach at Chelsea, we've got Philip Jorgensen, Josh Achiampong, Adrabayo, Trevor Chalobah, Esungo, Andre Santos, Pedro Neto, Alejandro Garnacho, and Liam Delap. Not the strongest bench, I must say. For Pep's Guardiola side, they have got Donnarumma, Ruben Dias, John Stones, Nathan Ake, Cherky, Phil Foden, Savino, Kovacic, and Rangers. An absolutely stacked bench as well. You're seeing that today's referee is Darren England. He's always an interesting character, isn't he? Before we get started going into this, do let me know your score predictions. As I said, 3-0. I forgot to mention in my last video the FA Trophy final, which is actually due to take place tomorrow. And I'm going to be going with a 2-1 win for Southend United up against Wealdstone in that match tomorrow. Congratulations to Celtic on winning the Scottish Premiership. I think everybody secretly wanted Hearts and Midlothian to win that. But that is all in the past now. We are squarely focusing on London at present. Two absolutely fine sides in the past. Both have had their fair share of accusations of cheating, and I don't think either team, like a lot of people, don't want either side to win this one. But it is what it is, as they say, as the two teams are marching out, being led by their manager and captain, into a resplendent display at Wembley with all sorts of things. They've got badges as flags, they've got flares, they've got a whole marching band, just to give you a sense of some of the things that are going on at the moment in Wembley, as the crowds are beginning to fill up. We're about 5 minutes or so away from kickoff. I believe they sing the national anthem before the start of the game. That was definitely a tradition, and I think they still do. Obviously, Prince William in attendance, the associate of the FA, and he is going up and handshaking all of the players, starting with Reece James and going across through the rest of the teams. Any thoughts about this game? I suspect, for me, that you can just see Man City's side is just 10 times more stacked throughout, to be honest. And you know what? I just don't see Chelsea getting this. Hopefully, we're in for an exciting game regardless. I had to sit through a pretty dull one of Arsenal versus Chelsea at one point. That is an odd strategy by Man City's goalkeeper, James Trafford decided he couldn't issue a handshake and so fist bumped the Prince. I don't know if I've ever seen that happen in the past, but it is what it is. I mean, that is certainly a bit of a novel experience. He was saying something about it because he's wearing his goalkeeper gloves, but come on, pull the other one. You could have just taken it off and handshake the Prince like everyone else. Got a really weird drone footage going on. Hopefully there's not like that during a game, because doing a live watch along with that angle would be horrific. Yes, finally filling out. It's rapidly approaching 3 o'clock for coveted football time, and obviously, and still known as the only game in football in England that can be played not during the blackout period. So that is, they are about to start singing the national anthem at Wembley, the home of English football. All the men in their fancy uniforms and helmets and scimitars. I've got a load of Bradford City choir by the looks of it singing. That is very odd. If anyone knows the reason behind that, do let me know, because I'm a bit confused about why they have got the Bradford City choir, seeming they have got nothing to do with either side. There's some very, very quiet people when it comes to singing the national anthem here. I'm just looking at the mouth, and not a lot is moving, I must say, from especially the Chelsea side. I mean, it has become a bit superfluous, I think you could say, to have a national anthem now, seeming most of these players aren't even English. But traditions are traditions. The players are all handshaking each other as they prepare to line up. Just a quick run through the lineups again. You've got Sanchez in for Chelsea. This is Fofana, Colwell, Hato, Gusto, James, Caicedo, Cucurella, Palmer, Fernandez, and João Pedro. Actually, the BBC has it as a 3-4-2-1. And James actually been holding midfielder. We'll have to see how that plans out. That is a very interesting formation. On the bench, Jorgensen, Adebayo, Neto, Delap, Asungo, Santos, Shalabar, Achimpong, and Alejandro Garnacho. For Man City, they, according to the BBC, have actually gone with a 4-3-2-1. So again, different from what SofaSport has. Trafford in goal, back four, Nunes, Kusanov, Guehi, and O'Reilly. A midfield three, Rodri, Silva, and Semenyo. Marmoush and Doku are lying in behind Haaland, and the bench is Donnarumma, Diaz, Reinders, Stones, Ake, Kovacic, Shirky, Savino, and Foden. Some big names on the bench there. Can Enzo Fernandez produce a little bit of magic to get his side of a win? I think he'll probably be the one which a lot of people are looking at on that Chelsea side. I think he had a bit of an injury earlier on this season, but he's certainly, I think, a pivotal part, as is Sanchez. Saved a fair few penalties this season. Certainly, if it did come to a penalty shootout, which, if you remember, after an extra time, it will go to penalties if it remains all even. It would certainly be worth looking at for that. I mean, imagine having replays of the FA Cup final. We used to have that back in the day. They are long gone. Replays only nowadays happen in the qualifying rounds, starting with the Tier 9 teams all the way back in the extra preliminary round. And the first I went to one of them, it was Pontefract Collieries versus Newcastle Benfield, to have been on a journey to get here. I've done a couple of live watch-alongs, a couple of ones in person as well. It's always a great game since some FA Cup. So Blythe Spartans versus Bury at one point, with Bury winning out 3-0 winners. Did a live watch-along for the Macclesfield versus Palace game. That'll be probably the headlines from this year's FA Cup. But yeah, I mean, Two big sides historically, and looking a bit nervous is Pep Guardiola at this moment in time. Probably rightfully so. If he ends the season with only an EFL Cup, I would argue it would have been a bit of a disappointing campaign for Man City. Because let's face it, the EFL Cup means absolutely nothing for a side like Man City. But they are all ready to line up. Darren England has got the sides lining up. Have we found out who's going to be kicking off yet? I'm not quite sure if we have. Chelsea are still in their huddle. Man City are ready for their lineup, which would imply to me that Chelsea would be the team to kick off. But I could always be wrong. There's some proper retro kits in the crowd today for Chelsea. Man City, a lot more modern. But yes, Chelsea to kick us off. They'll be playing right to left. Man City will be starting the game going left to right. They are your two teams. Cole Palmer, I believe, will be a player to kick us off. And we are underway. Darren England blows his whistle and it goes all the way back to Sanchez in goal, who will then hoof it downfield in the traditional way that we have grown accustomed to. Become a right aerial battle already. Bernardo Silva knocks it downfield and it's out wide with Doku, I believe, on that far side. To Nico O'Reilly and all the way back to defence. It'll be one of them ones, I think, whoever tries to break down the other teams first. And, well, Man City, kind of predictably, I think, with the early stages of possession here, make sure every player get a touch in a traditional Pep style, isn't it, to retain possession. And they're all just a bit feeling the turf, as they say. And not really a great deal of action, to be honest. So they're just trying to find a way back. And Chelsea are pressing Man City quite deep here. They're having to speed up quite quickly. And, it's quite expected, I would suggest. But they are in their own penalty area, passing it around. And, well, Chelsea are pressing them quite forward and hoping for a mistake. Chelsea have managed to get the ball now, and this is a chance to go forward. Reece James lays it off to the wings, but they themselves go back into their own half. I don't know if that's always a great strategy, to be honest, getting everybody involved. Who lifted over, trying to find one of Chelsea's number 20, João Pedro, but alas, to nothing, and it is back with Man City in midfield. Not a great deal to tell you about in this opening 2 minutes. We don't really get any much early goal mouth action anymore, do you? That sort of era of football is long gone. Having to be long shots potentially, or just the downright sublime of early rushing goals. It just doesn't happen anymore. It is back in goal with James Trafford, who lays it out to his defence. Looking to start again. Nico O'Reilly lifts a long ball forward, but there's way too much weight on it, and it goes all the way down to Sanchez, who's going with a Petr Cech look today with the scrum scarred hat sort of thing. Obviously, the former Chelsea goalkeeper Petr Cech is very well known for wearing that particular helmet. Out wide, he's kicked it, trying to get to Cucurella, but he can't quite get there. And that's surely a pull of a shirt. No, wave on, says the ref, and it's with Cucurella, but passing all the way back into the defence of Chelsea. The momentum for that was completely all wrong. And it's been kicked out for a throw-in to Man City. Bit cagey, it must be said. Getting rid of Rossini and having an interim coach for an FA Cup final is a risk. It will remain to be seen whether that has played off or not. And to be honest, I'm not quite convinced of that at the moment. João Pedro, lucky not to have given away a foul there, because he did just go into the back of, I'm trying to see who that is. It's number 16. Back with it now. I'll find that out later. But at the moment, touches galore, but just not a lot of action. Please just not be another slow game where each team just takes it in turns to have possession, because nobody wants to see that. Right? Nobody is interested in who has the most amount of possession stats coming into this game. It's probably likely to be Man City. Understandable as a, well, I think Chelsea could probably exploit something here, because I think Man City are dallying a bit, and it's gone out for a throw into Chelsea in their own half. Cucurella takes it quickly, and it's lifted up and out. Again, Cucurella will take the throw in. Cucurella can run here. He's managed to get past the defenders. He's going to try and get across it, and that's surely a foul. No, play on, says the ref. If you say so. It looked like to me that Cucurella may have gone down maybe a little bit too easily for Darren England's liking. And Man City can have a reset from the defence. Bernardo Silva. He'll just pass it back to his back line with Kusevov. Kouai, he's got it now, I believe it is. And they are progressing forward, but it's just a lot of Chelsea traffic. They've basically got every player behind the ball at the moment. It's not prettiest of football to watch at times. If you like this style of football, do let me know in the live feed. Myself, I'm not a huge fan. Well, Man City are now having a chance to pressurise. Bit of a risky move, and Sanchez had to throw that downfield. It looked like João Pedro was tackled to the ground there, but he's getting told to get up. Bernardo Silva is now running forward. He plays it out wide. And he's cutting inside quite well there as number 42, and it's flicked on. But Marmouche couldn't steer it quite past Sanchez. He's sort of just... I'm not quite convinced that was the most... Just sort of took in a touch, which is very poor touch, to be honest. It was never going to go in. It had no pace on it at all. But that will technically be considered the first shot on target of the game. It's a bit of an iffy one. Doku to... That was a poor pass. That was very easy for Cole Palmer to read, but... Chelsea... Oh, and there's been a foul. Bernardo Silva goes down holding his knee. I mean, Darren England making a lot about him at the moment. Oh, he did stamp. He did stamp. It doesn't look good from the replays, but I can see why he's given that. It was a very fair call in the end, I would have to say. But yes, it gives Man City an opportunity, if you will, to score. Well, it's quite far out still. But I don't know if I'd take a shot from here. It's too far out, surely, to take a shot. Bernardo Silva does fancy himself. The Portuguese international, long veteran and serving of this Man City side. I think everyone was a bit shot by that, including Man City. And Cole Palmer can break away here, but a sliding in tackle. Very well done altogether from that defender. It's a clean sliding tackle. You don't often see that nowadays, but I like it. It's becoming a bit aerial at times, this game, which there's nothing wrong with that. Can João Pedro run onto this? Potentially, it's just going to go into James Trafford's hands. Was Bit too much on it, but it wasn't a bad effort. I don't mind it. It was punting it downfield, and out wide. Oh, this is slick prime Guardiola on Marmouche, passing it out wide. It cuts in. Bernardo Silva. I think Fofana was the one who got the last touch on that. So potentially a corner here. Became a right foot race. And yeah, Fofana's definitely taken a touch on that. The corner was taken short, and it's now got Doku in a position on the corner of the box. He lifts it up and in, and it goes to the far. Oh, all a bit of complaints, and it's given as a Chelsea free kick in the penalty area. There was all a bit of a muchness going on there. I didn't quite see what ended up happening. It certainly wasn't offside. High boot maybe by Haaland. Yeah, potentially would be considered. Reece James was flying in for a header, and Haaland was trying to go with a long kick. He's a very lanky player, isn't he, Haaland? So yeah, I think that was being given for a high boot. And it will be a goal kick. This is absolutely ridiculous why they do this. They all move to one side of the pitch. All it takes is one person to just not be in that area, and then everything, and ping it out to him, and absolute chaos ensues. I'm telling you now, because I've never seen that goal kick sort of set piece routine ever come off to effect as is intended. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it, as you can probably tell. Man City got acres of space. Oh, and Cucurella, will he be able to close this down? Oh, Marmouche has it now. It's a very fluid thing. Cucurella is touch tight. Semenyo. He's had a good start, Semenyo, I must say. Fading in with some great footwork at the moment. On the other side, we've got Doku. He's got Gusto and Palmer surrounding him, but he's taken a safe pass back. And there's too much on that ball altogether from Guehi. So it is 0-0, 11 minutes in. Not any real chances to tell you about. There was just really that one shot on target that had no pace and wasn't going to ever challenge the Chelsea goalkeeper. Weird choice to do that. When the outfield player passes to a goalkeeper and then passes back to the outfielder, it's always a odd move. Not sure why they necessarily felt the need to do that. João Pedro has been fouled by Rodri. As well, Rodri's always one for the tackle, isn't he? Cucurella. And he's gone all the way back to a defensive line here. It's all the way back with Reece James, maybe even. No, not quite Reece James. It was further back than that even. Enzo Fernandez hooks it forward, finds João Pedro. That'll be interesting to see if that's offside or not. It has been given as offside. I would be interested to... I did say at the time it looked a bit iffy. Yeah, he is. He is off. That is a good call by the lino. He did look off when I said it. Doku now on the far side. He's cutting in field, and well, that's just a poor attempt of a tackle, to be honest, all round by Reece James. Not man impressive. Steaming forward now, Semenyo on the far side. It was Marmouche who made the impressive run, though. Semenyo goes into the penalty area, tries to find the pass, but there's no Man City player to turn it in behind. Unlucky from the former Bournemouth man, but you've got to rate that effort. He had a vision, but I don't think anyone else was on the same wavelength of that vision. He just needed someone to run onto it, but maybe it was a bit of a pacey ball as well across the face of the goal in all. Sometimes it's the most difficult of things to pull off that. But yeah, Semenyo so far, I would say it's been up there as one of the best players so far in this game. Didn't really mention him much in the opening stages because, well, just mentioning other players. That's gone out for a throw-in. It was a ball trying to find Cucurella, but he couldn't quite get there. So Guardiola on the touchline, licking his lips for some reason and having a proud eyebrow ridge. I don't know what he's going to be making of his team's opening performance in this first half. Only about 14 minutes in, but clearly there's a lot for him to mull over. He's had some decent chances, but maybe a bit too wasteful in possessions in times. But so far, 73% possession to Man City. It tells its own story, doesn't it, when stuff like that happens? And Doku and Rodri interlinking play nicely together there. So, was it? Well, Rodri had it then. Well, it's Bernardo Silva now. Doku looking for the through ball inside. Guehi. Just stop passing it backwards. Take a forward ball. It's absolutely doing nothing. This is like watching a flipping slow cuts by 1,000 cuts or whatever it's called. Death by 1,000 cuts. It's just so slow. And then they try to occasionally release something, but Sanchez so far has just not been challenged. He'll take a long kick downfield. João Pedro's with a poor header and it's gone out for a throw-in on the far side. Nico O'Reilly to take Guehi to Bernardo Silva. Just using all the defensive options available to him. Near side with Semenyo. He doesn't want it. He passes it back. Flipping it. Can there not just be an exciting pass? I feel sorry for Haaland in this team. He's getting no service whatsoever. He's been very absent today as a Norwegian. Yeah, I wouldn't say through his own fault. When you're not passing to your target man, then there's something going wrong, isn't there? Semenyo trying to beat Cucurella in a foot race. Cucurella hits it behind for a throw-in, and he's adamant that it did not come off him last. I'm not sure about that, to be honest. I don't know how he's going to explain that. He needs to calm down. He's getting booked today. I'm already saying it now. Cucurella loves a yellow card. He's going to get one. I think James is just telling him to calm down at this current proceedings. So, as is Darren England. He seems to have been made up with Semenyo after. What? I don't understand. Just leave it, mate. It's a throw-in. It means absolutely niche in the grand scheme of things. It was about halfway through the halfway line or so. It's like, it's not going to change the course and the outcome of the game. All you've done is just prolong the game in reality. Doku. In a 1v1 versus Cole Palmer. This is what you like to see football of. It's gone back to Nico O'Reilly, but I don't mind that, actually. Well using of space at the moment. They're progressing now as a team quite nicely. I mean, they're all the Man City players are in the Chelsea half, which means that even a pass backwards is probably still at least gaining something at this point. Okay, they are now desperately losing. It's almost... I don't know if any of you, when you were younger, played the game on Minecraft where you had to change the color of the wall by progressing forward. It's like that. It's slowly which team can give away more land. It's like a flipping World War I strategy. I'll move my trench 200 feet further forward. Absolutely ridiculous. It's going to end up a stalemate, I can tell you it now. It's going to require something incredibly special from either team to actually produce. Sanchez has got options to pick up for going forward. He'll probably be going for João Pedro, but Enzo Fernandez is also an option up there, as is Cole Palmer. João Pedro's got it, but he sort of came out quite far to get that, and it's ended up at Nico O'Reilly. A right old battle there. Cole Palmer comes away with it, but that'll be a free kick for pulling, potentially, against Doku. A bit overzealous in the tackle. You didn't need to pull at that point. Right. Cucurella moving forward. Okay, so this is good teamwork here. It's gone out wide. João Pedro's one interesting going wide, and it's a diving header clearance from Mateus Nunes. Good work by the defender, because Cucurella would have got on the end of that, actually. But it's a wonderful bit of teamwork. João Pedro whips in a cross, and Nunes is having to do a diving header. Good work all around. I think he's Portuguese, is Mateus Nunes. He's one of the ones who was at Wolves, wasn't he? In their team of Portuguese players, a lot of which moved on. It'll be a corner kick then for Chelsea, and you've got the specialist Reece James over it. He's obviously got a plethora of options, but he actually opts to go short. I think that's just a mistake there. You just got to whip a corner in and do an Arsenal, just do something with it. Sanchez well out, and he hoofs it forward, trying to find João Pedro. Well, they've learned how to do a back pass rule now. A firm header back to the goalkeeper. I mean, sometimes you do suspect with back passes, like whether headering should be or shouldn't be allowed within the back pass rule. There's a lot of grey area in that one. There's a lot of debate about it back in the 90s when the rule first got implemented. And interestingly enough, the first season the Premier League existed. Moving forward now is Doku. Gets dispossessed and crowded out far too easily. But the thing is, Chelsea are all too deep. But Enzo Fernandez with a great ball. João Pedro peeling forward. I don't know if he'll be able to do much with this. Use Enzo Fernandez if you need to. And he slips. That is unfortunate. I've known about João Pedro for ages, and I didn't necessarily expect him to ever get to what you would call a Big Six club. Obviously, his time at Watford and Brighton previously just never to me seemed like the sort of player who'd be able to cut it. But obviously now he's rubbing shoulders in an FA Cup final, and he's actually done quite well in his later stages of his career. And Man City progressing forward. It's all stood a bit still. Guehi to Rodri, who does a no-look pass back to Guehi. I mean, that's just a sheer arrogance of Man City, isn't it? Cole Palmer goes down under a tackle by Doku. This is quite... at times it's quite exciting, at times it is a bit dull. It's it oscillates vastly between the two. And it's all the way back with Sanchez at the moment. Haaland is pressing. That's what I like to see. Haaland has got that. Haaland is... I thought that was going to go in. It's just glanced across the face of the goal. You need a bit better angle there. But it wasn't a bad effort. Chelsea should have dealt with that a bit better. I'm trying to see who it was. I think maybe Reece James it was who was applying a bit too much under pressure. Hefty shoulder barge, but Chelsea have been allowed to come away with it here. João Pedro, what the flip was that? Outside of Trevella, ended up in absolute no man's land. I don't know what he was thinking. Like, ridiculous, quite frankly. And there is now, maybe that was why there's an injury to Moises Caicedo. He's holding his upper leg by looks, or his shin. I don't know what's happened, because normally when the player's holding his shin, it means they've been absolutely thumped by one of the players. By the way, when I was talking about that cross earlier for Chelsea, it might have been from Gusto. João Pedro and Gusto have gone with identical trims, which makes a commentator's work a lot harder. Caicedo is on his feet, still bending down, but I think he should be fine. I'm not sure what happened, in all honesty. Still not looking great. And his knee is looking a bit, well, I don't know. He's not looking the greatest shape, I must say. His muscles, should they be twinging like that? I don't know. I'm not a doctor, right? So I'm not going to make any passing judgment on this sort of thing, because I quite frankly don't know a thing about it. How do people see this game going then? Got the World Cup coming up as well. Be interested to see if you want to see me do a live watch along for that. I think Man City have changed their team formation as well to a 4-2-2-2. We are back underway. And Man City are being applied a great deal of pressure all the way back to James Trafford. There's a lot of Chelsea players pushing forward here. They could leave them quite exposed to the back. Reece James with it now. Moises Caicedo. Through to Enzo Fernandez, who can't get past the powerful defender of Cavallo. I can't, but, well, there's been a foul. Enzo Fernandez on a shove up against Bernardo Silva. They take it quickly. Progressing down the wing nicely is Marmoush, who plays it out wide to Semenyo, who goes back to Marmoush, who dips it round, and Haaland has just tapped it in. It has been given an offside. Well, that will be very interesting. There is going to be VAR in action here. It was a very routine Man City goal, in a sense. Oh, yes, he's miles offside. Marmoush was miles off when the pass was delivered to him. Right call there, right call. It was a whole yard or so. You won't even need VAR for that. Guardiola had to stifle his celebration. But yeah, that is just a threat and a sign of what Man City do pose. In all honesty, it is not too surprising when they can turn on like that, just turn the heat up a bit. Way he's got it now. They've had the ball in the back of the net, albeit illegitimately once. Can they actually get one legitimately? It remains to be seen. Rodri passes it back to Gahey. Out wide to Nico O'Reilly, who passes it back. Goes all the way back to James Trafford in goal. Not entirely sure why half of this is being done. And it's cut out quite nicely by Moises Caicedo. But Bernardo Silva does this tracking back incredibly well. Cucurella. Taking time, calming things down. I don't mind that at all. Oh, let's go. That less so. I'm not entirely sure I'm a fan of the whole throwing it all the way back to your own half sort of situation. But it is what it is. It goes through all the back lines and then out on all other... Why, that's called a switch of play. And there's now a bit of pace injected. Oh, Gusto was close. There. Silva looking for a foul potentially. And Enzo Fernandez does great job there I thought that was perfectly legitimate from Enzo Fernandez. He got the ball both times, but apparently he did a foul. I'm not quite convinced about that, Mr. Referee Darren England. I don't see what was wrong with it. He's done a great recovery there. He's got the ball. He's got the ball again. Yes, he's gone through Bernardo Silva, but he's got the ball. I'm going to be honest. That's proof really for me the game's gone soft. He's been given a yellow card, by the way. There was a time and a place when you used to, if you got the ball, then you would be allowed to play on, even if you got a bit of a man going through. Long gone are them days, it seems. Feels quite farcical in this situation. He obviously had no intention to go for the player at all. Right, Semenyo in a battle with Cucurella opts to go back. And then it flings forward. Haaland in the centre circle, pinging it out, but can't get any further than Gusto. And it is now with the Chelsea defence. All a bit combative and stale, to be honest, in this middle of the field. No one can quite get than a final legitimate killer pass, I will say. João Pedro doing an interlinking with Gusto. An offside apparently there for Cole Palmer. It looked a bit iffy on that decision. We'll have a look at the replay. He is coming back from an offside position. That is again another very good call. João Pedro seems to be down holding his quad. I don't know what he's done really here. It will be not good if João Pedro is injured for Chelsea. He is their main focal point after all. They do have Liam Delap on the bench if needed, although he hasn't necessarily performed to the expectations I think many in Chelsea had for him. Came through Derby's academy, actually. He was one of those youngsters that had to get sold off during the administration period. But, it is what it is. And he's now obviously gone on to far bigger and better things. Sitting on the bench today, though. But he may get his chance. We'll have to see. Cole Palmer managing to get through a Man City defence here. It felt a bit like a Cole Palmer of old. Although he has tried to take on the world and understandably failed. As Semenyo comes rushing forward. Oh, that's a nasty collision. Cucurella there. Getting a yellow. I said it, didn't I? I said he was going to get a yellow. I could have put a cheeky bet on it. It was no surprise to me at all. He was never going to beat a foot race up against Doku, and he's just absolutely tripped him up as he's gone past. He's no intention to play the ball, nicked out an out-trailing leg, catching him on the right boot. Absolutely ridiculous. There was no intention to play the ball there, Mr. Cucurella. You are deservingly in the book. It will be Man City to take this free kick about halfway into Chelsea's half. Bernardo Silva off for a lateral switch and receives a return. Doku's got it now up against his foe Cucurella, who is content on making his life a misery. He got past Cucurella, but then had one of the worst crosses I've ever seen in world football. You can't do it all, can he, Semenyo? But it's tricky footwork, I must say. Misfooted Cucurella completely. He just needed to get a good cross, which, unfortunately for him, was severely lacking. Throw in then for Chelsea. Oh, that's lackadaisical by... Well, Gusto is in now a bit of a tricky position because he's bought a foul there from Doku. It all started with Cole Palmer not having a good touch, giving it straight to the City team. So it forced Gusto to basically buy a foul, which the referee bought quite well. And it was all gone to plan. Sanchez to take this goal kick. He oops it up. Up. Enzo Fernandez has got a head onto it and ratting around. Oh, Nico O'Reilly. He's got pace for days, doesn't he? Be interesting to see if some of these players make the England team. Or any of their national teams, I suppose. James Trafford, I'd certainly be looking at bringing on the plane. Cole Palmer, also looking to make his way into Tuchel's plans. He's had a bit of an odd season compared to maybe his usual high standards as Cole. Passing forward is Caicedo, who goes out wide to Cole Palmer. It's now all the way out right to Gusto. He's going to try and... He's got a lot of City players to get past. He's got his cross off, but it's straight into the arms of James Trafford in his pink from head to toe. Well, apart from his boots, which are yellow. Would have been interesting to have pink boots as well, wouldn't it? Riveting commentary from Rams Fan YT. You don't get this anywhere else. Right, Bernardo Silva. Looking for options, doing a bit of a dance. And opts for Guehi. Pushing forward. Just gone back to Guehi, who will try and get past Chelsea's defence. It's out wide with Doku. He's got a great bit of upper body build to him, doesn't he? Flip across to Semenyo, but Cucurella wins that aerial duel. And surely Enzo's just been dumped on the floor there. Yep, Enzo Fernandez dumped on the floor. Was it Marmouche, I think, potentially, who did that? Quite possibly. He's playing deeper than I thought he would, to be fair, Marmouche. Clearly, some people aren't limited. They're on their phones. Imagine spending all this money to go to Wembley to just look at your phone. If you got to check the stats, check it later. Oh, Cole Palmer's blocked off the ball there. And so Man City managed to come away with it. I'm not always convinced that should be a legal move, but it is so far allowed. Enzo Fernandez to Moises Caicedo to Reece James. Is it Reece James? Can't quite tell. Gusto. He's gone back to his midfield. Got a lot of strong players here. Moises Caicedo goes forward with Enzo Fernandez. Switching across here. Loops it in. Again, another diving header away. But Chelsea have still retained it this time round. Moises Caicedo. It's all slowed down again. It's still just a bit in Chelsea's midfield at the moment. And they're just being progressed further and further back by a bit of Man City pressure. Just need someone... There's plenty of options going forward, guys. You don't need to constantly do that. Cucurella will take a throw in. See, look, you're just wrong-footed. Karku, I can't never remember how you pronounce that guy's name. He's only a relatively recent acquisition to Man City's side. And I must profess, I've not seen a lot of Man City play this season. I tend not to watch this level of football, partly because I find it so dull nowadays. Flipped forward. And it's Gusto who's got it. He's doing a lot of running and finds a good pass there, actually. Cole Palmer. Cucurella. Is he controlling with his hand there? No one else was protesting, so probably not. Casado. It's all of it in this midfield battle here. Who is going to come out on top? We've only got around about 6 or so minutes till at the end of this half. Maybe a couple of minutes added time, but no one can quite find a breakthrough yet in terms of any form of winner. It's a very satisfactory defence so far for Chelsea, which has only been burst once, but because of a offside. There's been a few offsides in this game, actually. Cole Palmer pushing forward, crossing it in, and a header behind. That will therefore be a corner for Chelsea. The second of the game, I believe. Or was it their third? But they had a few opportunities to have a whip it in here, and so far I'm not convinced that anyone particularly has seized upon this initiative. So 2 corners to Chelsea, 1 to Man City. Reece James. Surely you don't go short again. It's a bit predictable to do that. They're all bursting, and it's a battle of blue. Cucurella with a bit of a miscue. Casado manages to control it and goes back to Palmer, who's incredibly deep. Headed up by Nico Riley, who I'm pretty certain is alongside. Bit of the inverted winger that you know that Pep loves. Guehi has been brought down by Hato. There's no need for that because you're in a great position. Hato is probably my most frustrating player of this game, if you wanted to know. I just find him very tame and not actually that exciting. He tends to keep it safe, hence why I don't mention him that much. But there's a lot of people warming up. I'm not entirely sure why, because we're almost at half-time. And the goalkeeper waves everyone forward. We're going to go long for Man City, which is somewhat unusual. Hoof downfield by James Trafford. And straight out for a throw-in. And that is the exact reason why they don't normally go long. Cucurella to take a throw. Tuchel is actually in attendance today. He is watching this game, as you would expect, I suppose. Because, you know, if you perform well on a stage like this, probably perform well quite much in the FA Cup. In the World Cup. 85% possession for Chelsea in the last 5 minutes, by the way. Man City has sort of slowed down the tempo a lot. Although, contrary to that, Doku is now pushing forward. So, clear to sort of prove that that's not the case. A reminder flashing up that Brighton and Hove Albion's women's team are actually in the Women's FA Cup final, and I think they're up against Man City as well. But yes, should be an interesting one, that. Way he progressing forward. All just routine, run-of-the-mill, conserving possession at the moment. Rodri. Going forward to Doku, but he opts to take a safe one. Good pass by Guehi there. He's found Haaland, who can't get it quite in the back of the net. Well, that was a lightning-fast move, which I don't know if many people in Chelsea's side were expecting. Sanchez met it. It was a tight angle, and he's done a great job as Sanchez. But I don't know how many people saw that play come on there, But clearly Haaland was caught being in a great advantageous position by Guehi, and that is why he's such a good player. Hooked up and all the way over. Rodri. Semenyo, who's having to run quite far back. Nico O'Reilly, just content to keep it around the defenders who are firmly in Chelsea's half. Are they trying to see this half out of play? We've only got about a minute of ordinary time left. So, unless anything extraordinary happens, I suspect we're going for a goalless first half. Nico O'Reilly. Dispossessed quite easily by Chelsea there. But we're working well as a team for this occasion, actually. Can't fault them for it at the moment. And all the way back to Sanchez. No urgency for Man City to do anything with that. I'm not entirely sure why. Cucurella can get to this. No, he can't. It's gone out for a throw. I thought it looked like he might have just kept it in. But alas, was not the case. Marmoush reminds me a lot of the Riyad Mahrez sort of style of play. I don't know if he was the one who was intended to do it. But he sort of makes darting runs into the box. And sort of sets other people up. If you remember Riyad Mahrez at Leicester, it was him and Jamie Vardy who would frequently be doing it. Obviously, he then did move to City. I think it was Gabriel Jesus when he was at City, who was his main strike force assistant. Gusto takes a throw. There's 3 minutes of added time here. Yeah, there's not a lot separating these two teams at the moment, I must say. Oh, João Pedro's managed to get that quite effectively. Has he been blocked off for a penalty? All the City players are saying no. João Pedro cannot believe it. He's got his hands like that. So that's an interesting talking point, I assume, of this half. Is VAR going to be checked? I think it might be, actually. He certainly's come across and blocked his run. I wouldn't be surprised if this is given, you know. I would really not be surprised if this is given. He's come across and blocked him off it. There was no intention to play the ball. Well, that is controversial. I suspect that's going to be the talking point of the half. Because that, for me, is the first decision that Darren England's got wrong. I think there was definitely no intention to get the ball, and he just blocked the player off making a run. I think he's potentially unlucky not to get a penalty there, João Pedro. Enzo Fernandez. And they're going around Hato to Casado. Chelsea are actually looking very... I was not expecting this from Chelsea at all. I was not. And they've actually surprised me quite a lot here. Showing how they managed to... They held Liverpool to a draw, didn't they, last week? And you kind of see why. But here we go. Reece James knocking downfield for a final foray of the half, maybe. Bernardo Silva hoops it up. It is won, though, by Chelsea. And Reece James looking to be his former self. Oh, he's not gone for the cross, and it's just cancelled out there by Doku. And that's the end of his half. It is 0-0 at half-time, with one goal disallowed for offside for Manchester City, probably rightfully, and a penalty denied to Chelsea Not quite convinced as much on that one. Let's go through the teams, see how everybody's been performing in this game according to Sofa Score. Very, very even. Chelsea on a 6.63. Man City on a 6.67. So they're marginally giving it to Man City, but very marginally, like we are talking whiskers of difference. So let's look at Chelsea's team. 6.8 for Sanchez. I mean, he's not had a lot to do, and what has had to do, he has done, in effect. He's kept the goals out. Hatta on a 6.4, which is the joint lowest of the Chelsea team. As I said, I've not been overly impressed with him, in all honesty. Colwill on a 6.5. Again, been a bit boring, maybe a bit more adventurous, but not much. Fofana on a 6.7. He probably has done the most exciting passes of the defenders, but yeah, we're talking not a lot, really. Cucurella on a 6.5. He's been involved in a lot of action, whether for good or for ill. He's done a bit of everything, hasn't he? 6.6 with Caicedo. He's had a few touches, but nowhere near as good as captain Reece James was 7.0, who has so far been Chelsea's best player. Does make sense for me. He's been instrumental in pulling a lot of the strings in the attack. 6.4 for Gusto. Not done necessarily what we thought. 6.7 for Enzo Fernandez. 6.7 as well for Cole Palmer. And a 6.6 for João Pedro. It's all just a bit much of a muchness. For Man City, got 6.6 to James Trafford. He's also done his job. He's kept a clean sheet so far. 6.7 for Matheus Nunes. He's done incredible. I think he should be much higher. He has prevented some very clear goal-scoring opportunities, shall we say, for Chelsea. 6.6 for Kusanov. I can never pronounce his name when I don't have my team sheet in front of him, so I don't even try, but he has actually been all right. Guehi on a 7.0. Yeah, he's their joint best player alongside Bernardo Silva, both on a 7.0, and both have been a lot of touches, but a lot of good touches, including that incredible one by Guehi, who released Haaland towards the end of the half. 6.6 for O'Reilly, not done much. Roger on a 6.4, who's done hardly anything, it is worth saying. 6.6 for Semenyo. I think he's had some good cut-ins. Same with Doku on a 6.7. Haaland on a 6.8. He's had a couple of opportunities. 6.4 for Marmoush, who has had a bit of a quiet game so far. I think that is fair to say. But yes, we are at half-time. We are looking at, a 0-0 draw at the moment. Then we're probably going to be talking a bit about that penalty decision, I would hazard a guess. But I just want to really say that for Chelsea, they have been, I would actually say, better than I thought going into this. Maybe it's something to do with everyone expecting Chelsea to not win this game. I don't know. There's a load of kids who's taking a photo of Micah Richards while he's talking. We've got the panel of Micah Richards, Wayne Rooney. Is that Julian Lescott? I can't quite tell. I'm not up to date with pundits. But, I mean, you're looking at the timings of... I'm just looking at some of the analysis they're doing at the BBC here. The timings of the runs for Man City, though, it has been impressive. That is something that is very noticeable about the Man City side. They do attack as a team and they defend as a team quite well, and they often come from deep and actually do some quite impressive runs. We saw it a couple of times in this game. Haaland, notably, but even when ones which haven't necessarily produced for clinical chances, or ones which are talked about the most, they have been decent. So it is something that Chelsea need to watch out for. Runs from deep are very, very common from Man City. sudden bursts of pace, and it can often catch teams napping. But we sort of already knew that when we were going to come into the game. Everyone sort of already knew that it was going to be the case, that they were going to time their runs, get a shot off, and then hope to score on that sort of almost on the break. Even though they have more possession, they were the ones who were going to try and cause a break. The reason why they've not managed to score is that at the moment, Chelsea's defence has managed to cope with it because they've been playing as a very compact team. And, you know, they've seemed to be nullified. I think Chelsea may be on a bit of a defence, but has been good in the transition of attack. Just looking at this, Doku has sort of been doubled up on a bit. And I had noticed that throughout the game, actually. Palmer comes a bit deeper. And Palmer sort of and blocks them off, and make sure that I think Doku has probably seen a bit more of a threat in the build-up. And that's maybe why we've not seen Haaland as much, because once that threat has been nullified, it's very difficult to get into their target man. It was sort of why we saw the end of the target man originally, because we've only really begun seeing target man in the last 3 or 4 years. Likes of Darwin Núñez, Haaland, João Pedro, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, just thinking of a few traditional target mans, Chris Wood. They've all really only come to the fore, Isak, of course, as well, over the last few years. And there was a while that we didn't really have target men. You remember back to the 2010s, it was more the players who could just run into the box, such as, Messi was very much capable of doing that. So was Ronaldo. They would run into the box. They wouldn't be necessarily taking a target. They were, doing it themselves. And I know I'm talking about two phenomenally world-class players here, but it was sort of a case in that day and age. It was only the likes of Burnley or whatever which were still employing a target man. A number 10, number 9, although we are looking at Wayne Rooney, who maybe... Even then, I don't know if necessarily Wayne Rooney was a target man. He also had bursted a pace into the area. So, yes, a interesting game, nevertheless. Or most of Premier League games are all taking place on Sunday. So, we've pretty much got no scores to report upon, which is an interesting one. Are they going to talk about the penalty decision or not? Because at the moment we're just talking about a lot of hard work, and that also that Semenyo is being doubled up on as well. So yeah, I mean, we already knew that both Semenyo and Doku were going to be nullified. I think that was probably the battle plan going in for Chelsea. Although I would say Cucurella's probably had to be a bit more of a one-man. He sort of, because he makes them marauding runs forwards, there's no one covering him when it goes back and goes badly wrong. So it's hard to double up on two different players. But yeah, traditional winger play probably by Man City. You probably would have seen this a fair while ago, but the pace maybe of the game is a bit slower than it is now. And that's sort of where wingers need to be even more pacier. But at the same time, I think defenders have also lifted up pace a lot more than traditionally they have done. The term wing back means that they can operate as either a winger or in the back line. They've not just had to... Traditionally, you would have said to your left back or your right back, you stay in this defensive area here and let your wingers be the ones who go forward in this 4-4-2 system. And you wouldn't expect a left back or a right back to go out of their own half. because it was much more important to nullify the other set of wingers. Yes, I am absolutely waffling because what is going on with this halftime report, I do not know. There hasn't been a lot to report on, in all honesty. I'm losing a bit of a will in terms of, I think even the BBC are struggling, even though they have got a plethora of good pundits, but they're struggling to really talk about the talking points. We surely got to talk about the penalty. No, we're going to be talking about a 1v1 versus Cucurella. Chelsea have left a bit of space at times, haven't they? And I think there's definitely chances for City to cut Chelsea open because they have left some space in their pursuit going forward. Defensively, out of possession, they are holding tight. I've got a good defensive line, but they are, when they're going forward, they leave gaps, mighty gaps in midfield. I mean, the midfield is probably what I've been questioning the most for Chelsea at the moment. They seem to just be somewhat ignoring the midfield, even though they've got a lot of them. Caicedo has hardly done anything. Reece James has sort of been the one who's been instrumental on going forward. If I was Caicedo, I'd be saying, look, we've got to get it through the game. We've got to get Levi Colwill to Caicedo, to Fernandes to Pedro, or to Colwill to James to Palmer, and utilise them options as sort of channels. Because, at the moment, City are very much in blocks. They're in phases. And that's not necessarily the best thing you want to do. We are almost approaching the end of this half-time, thankfully, because there's not a lot to talk about, if I'm being brutally honest. So it is just one of them one. If you are interested in me doing live watch-alongs to the World Cup, or if you want me to boycott the World Cup, do let me know in the comment section below in this video, because I would be interested to know myself if you want that or if you don't want that, because they tend to do quite well with these live watch-alongs. But at the same time, the World Cup is on at a ridiculous time, and a lot of people aren't liking it. Apparently, Shirky is potentially going to be coming on. So, bit of a change. And, Shirky was instrumental in the last game, but when they played against Man City. And maybe his assists, he provides a lot of assists in this team. Maybe it's something that they can rely on going into this second half. Who they would take off, I'm not quite sure. It's hard to tell, isn't it? Marmouche, maybe? I don't know if Marmouche is due to come off or not. I have no idea what Marmouche is doing right now, to be honest. He's putting some sort of cream on his nose. I don't know what that is for. Is it sun cream? Is he putting sun cream on? It will be quite hilarious if it is. I mean, maybe it's quite warm in London. I mean, it's a sunny day here up in the northeast of England as well. Chelsea's team is finally coming out for those who are interested. They don't look like they're going to be making any changes. I wonder if either side is. Some last words of tactical analysis by Chelsea coaching team, giving some notes on to their players. Will anyone find a breakthrough here at Wembley? They are making a change. City. Shirky is coming on. And Marmouche is coming off, as I suspected. Well, as everybody pretty much expected, I think, in this entire situation. We'll see if that changes things massively. Potentially does. Good player, Shirky. It's going to be quite an interesting half. The way he has it now, but yeah, they're progressing forwards. Hoofed downfield by James Trafford. There's been a foul very early on against Gusto, who is arching his back, which is not what you do when you've hurt your back. And I'm telling you now, that is not what happens when you've suddenly whacked your back on the floor. You don't suddenly start arching it. That will be a free kick for Chelsea as the first real bit of action in this second period of play. Reece James opts to go backwards to Levi Colwill. Hatto. And progress forward nicely there. João Pedro's got it. He's got options ahead of him. He's gone back to Casado. And it's going to go all the way back to Levi Colwill. Of course it is. Reece James doing a 1-2. A lot of players are still up there. Chelsea might look to go long here. Would probably be a wise idea. Instead, they go wide, and that is cheaply giving away possession there. Semenyo. Not Semenyo, Doku. They've changed sides. Towering header over, and that is Semenyo, and that is just over the crossbar. Unlucky. Decent player, Semenyo. And he's just not quite managed to steer it onto target, and you're completely onside, I believe. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure. As Hatto's decided to stay on the ground, done a better job there. I don't know if that has. I wouldn't be convinced by Hatto's defending at all at this point in time. Casado, who opts to go back to Colwill. Just got to keep it progressing forwards. Guay is almost operating as a midfielder at this point. Rushing forward is João Pedro, who's got options. He goes with Gusto. Goes all the way back in field. Levi Colwill with a great ball out to Enzo Fernandez, who was just being bundled over by Mateus Nunes. I don't know how he's protesting that at all. You've just bundled him over, mate. There's no way you can protest that. Sometimes players will just protest for the sake of protesting, won't they? I understand none of it. If you've done it, just put your hands up and say, okay, look, fair enough. That was a foul. Move on. You don't have to protest every single decision. Cole Palmer has gone down very lightly, admittedly, from Bernardo Silva, I think holding his arm. Still looks like he's 12-year-old. Cole Palmer and Phil Foden always look perpetually young, don't they? Growing up, though. Yes, still England cannot win a major trophy. Colwill. duping everyone and going to Hatto. Oh my days. At least do something interesting. Okay, Man City have overturned possession here. And there's a foul given for and in favour free kick to Chelsea. Enzo Fernandez is again the recipient. And again, Mateus Nunes is just absolutely bodied into him. I mean, what is Mateus Nunes actually doing in this game other than just being a bit fuggish? Like, I could not tell you what his intentions are. I could really see Chelsea winning this now. At the beginning of the game, I was like 3-0 Man City. I couldn't see it. But as the game's gone on, I've actually managed to see more and more Chelsea being able to win this. I've changed my mind, as they say. He's got it now. Cole Palmer will pressurise, but not that much, and it goes back to James Trafford. Hocking it forward. But there's way too much on that. And what the flip is going on? That is... I mean, the ridiculous nature of the back pass means that heading it is preferred over kicking it at this point. And a very vacant expression by Thomas Tuchel's face, not giving away anything in the slightest. Gareth Southgate would have been maybe a bit more, or a bit less coy. Doku is furious that a foul by Semenyo was given. Semenyo just shoulder barging into Levi Colwill, to be honest. I mean, it is a foul. There's no doubt about it. And I think even Semenyo knows it. But Doku was having an opportunity to have a shot there. So I think that was more where the frustration was brought out of. Peer neck. It was gone absolutely sliding in there, forcing a mistake, really, by Sanchez, all things considering, into a throw-in. I don't mind it, but I don't know who on earth it was. Was it Shirky? It might have been Shirky's first real bit of action. Out wide to Nico O'Reilly. Doku. Guehi. To Rodri. Back to Doku. It was left Palmer for dust. Palmer's come back and, well, Doku's thrown himself to the ground and Darren England says, no, no, no. Get up. So, Rodri, with it now, goes very far to Kadyrov. As I said, I can never remember. Progressing forward now are Chelsea. Casado. He's got options. Tups for 1-2. Oh, and he's done a cheeky through ball there to Palmer. Palmer, go on, knock it forward. And he has done. It's out wide. Not great, in all honesty. Nico O'Reilly's got it now. And that'll go out for a Man City throw-in, I believe. Well, it was a chance. It was a half chance. That's all it possibly was. So, both managers looking quite pensive at the moment. João Pedro is pressurising James Trafford, who... What's been given there? I have no idea what's been given there. Oh, surely that's a corner. It's a mistake. But, yeah. James Trafford kicked it when it was already out of play. That was very silly. That's the consequence of playing out from the back, I suppose. Wow. Not expect that. Well, Reece James, from really an unforced error, has been given a chance to give Chelsea a good advantage here. Reece James lifts it up, headed away, headed in by Caicedo, headed out again. Bernardo Silva, I think it is, has gone absolutely flying. Caicedo can't believe it. That's been given. It was all a bit of a muchness. It was punched up. Caicedo heads it. Rodri does a line clear off line, but there was definitely a good chance there. Oh, rolling around on the floor is Palmer. There's a hefty challenge in from Doku. He left a bit on him as well. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a challenge, but it was a strong one. But a fair one. Seen enough of non-league football over my time to say that's a fair foul. Hoofed down field by Sanchez. Looking for João Pedro. Can't get to him. He's gone with Reece James in midfield. Watch for ever pacey Haaland. A lot of people are not always as coy to that. Caicedo's tried something and has actually managed to get given a free kick for him. There's a yellow card in hand. Well, we'll actually be able to get on the screen how to pronounce that guy's name again. I don't know if that's necessarily a yellow card booking offence, to be honest. Well, Abdulkadir Kusanov. I'm still not going to remember it. Kusanov has been given a yellow card. And there's a good place for a free kick here for Chelsea, actually. Reece James inevitably is standing over it. There's a right huddle of players. They're all communicating each other for Chelsea. João Pedro, Colwill, and Fofana in it. Fofana used to play for Leicester, I believe. But here's Reece James. He's had his fair share of injuries over his career, but he's glad to see him finally looking like he's being able to recover. I suspect a great set-piece delivery here. Can't get quite past first man. Dives into it, just Caicedo. Great chance. Enzo Fernandez hits and Nico O'Reilly. It's not going to be a handball. It's going to be a corner. But it was not in an unnatural position in the slightest from Nico O'Reilly. To call such a thing is, quite frankly, futile for me. He's had it. He's got his arm right in there. And he's just gone like that and he's hit his elbow. I don't know what he could have done in that position. I mean, he has twisted his body, but it's a natural position. It's a natural position. But it is going to be a corner either way. This has always been an interesting dilemma, hasn't it? What is a natural and unnatural position? Chelsea fans believing something's going to happen to them. Reece James with a corner. I've not been great so far. He's gone for a second cross. Is that going to be out for a throw-in? Fofana, I think it was, with the header. A bit off target, fair to say. Chelsea's fan base has changed a lot over the last 30, 40 years. You don't get as many skinheads and racists in there anymore, which is always grateful. But... and a lot more younger faces as well. I mean, they've probably known the glories of Chelsea. They weren't there with the tough days, but both of these two teams, over the last 20 years or so, made names for themselves, which most people have never heard of beforehand. But yes, Kusanov. Calm and collated. Just keeping it in under pressure now. It's gone back to Guehi. Reece James, interesting, is the most furthest forward player at the moment. Which you wouldn't necessarily expect for him to be central forward, would you? I don't think... He may be talented at many positions, but I don't think centre forward is one of them. Some good triangles going on here. Reece James always... I thought I was good at one, but I think Guehi's done a great job of managing to block that. It's Fafana now. It goes all the way back to Sanchez in goal. An hour mark in, still 0-0. And Fafana, has he gone out of play? There's definitely a foul involved with that. I'm not sure how Doku's even protesting that, because there was definitely a foul. Guardiola's standing up. Oh yeah, might be even to make a change at some point. Some sort of tactical change, more likely, I suspect. But there is players warming up. I suspect we will actually see a personnel change in a couple of minutes. Sanchez whips it down out wide. I think Guehi goes just to Guehi, and that'll be a throw-in. Poor ball again by Haaland. Kovacic is the player who looks like he's going to be coming on. Clearly thinking they need to dictate the midfield a bit more with a tactical change like that, I would suggest. Kovacic from one of the many Balkan nations that there are. Long ball, and that'll go all the way to James. I'm not sure who the target was for that ball, but it certainly wasn't a player in dark blue. I don't know if this would have considered being a click clash if it wasn't a game at Wembley in a final, because certainly some overlaps. White socks and white shorts being one of them. Cole Palmer. That's a hefty challenge there by Bernardo Silva. Advantage has been played, currently with Fafana, to Casado. Reece James lifts it up forward. But that's going to go to another James, just called James Trafford. Could see the intention, no, it wasn't a bad effort. That must be said. Guehi on it now. Great through ball. It's with Shirky now. Passing it wide to Doku. He gives it back to Shirky. That's not a great pass, and it comes with Cucurella. Cucurella's got the opportunity to make something happen here. It's with João Pedro now. He is surrounded by light blue shirts, but he's pushing himself away, and he may have lost his runner. Oh, he's recovered it nicely as Mateus Nunes. Thought he might have just lost his runner there, but Nunes recovers well. I think Rodri's showing his age a bit at the moment. He's not done as much running as potentially is expected, but he is a defensive midfielder, so it may not matter too much. Colwell. He's going to be the central defender, probably dictating things, but going back to the goalkeeper, oh my days, Shirky was definitely going to, probably if he slid into that, he probably could have got there. But maybe that's just my perspective from being up here. Maybe it was further than I thought. It's going well forward at the moment, Chelsea, but was it signalled for offside? I'm not sure. There's some good interplay there. Hato was the one who... Was it Hato who's considered offside? I'm not sure. It would be odd if it was Hato. There is going to be a substitution. Rodri's day is over. I did just say it was tiring, and Kovacic is coming on in his place. As we say, absolutely stacked bench for City. And of course, nowadays, when substitutions, you get every on and a dozen. Won't be surprised if Chelsea start making one soon, but they do have a weaker bench. So they may be a bit loath to make a change as much. But obviously, Pep doesn't think Man City have got a grasp on this game, and I will probably be in concurrence. Colwill to Caicedo. It's all been Chelsea this half, by the way. Almost entirely. Cole Palmer. Great ball forward. It's whipped across in. João Pedro throws himself to the ground again, looking for a penalty. I just go and get it and put it in the net. If it's a penalty, it's a penalty. I'm not sure about that. There wasn't enough to go absolutely sprawling on the ground like that. I just can't get my head around why such a decision was made there. Decision making. This guy is obviously not going to give a soft penalty. Now, it may be the case for the next time there's a potential dubious penalty call. He gives the penalty, though, because there's been a couple of incidents like that, and he might feel that he needs to right wrongs. So, City need to be careful in their own penalty box now. Semenyo, though, is in the other penalty box. It goes all the way across to Doku. Infield to Guehi, who's got a good chance to do a shot, opts for the pass. Flying kick for Kovacic, who's managed to somehow find Doku. I have no idea if that was his intention or not. And well defended by Fofana, who steered it away behind the goal. City suddenly have a belief from absolutely nowhere. I'm just talking about penalty shout. There's not a lot in there. I think he probably could have even stayed on his feet. He's definitely gone looking for that. I mean, act in disbelief all you want, Chelsea coaching staff, but not great. 4 corners for Chelsea to 3 to Man City. It's been such an even game. On the 67th minute, and don't you dare. But this time, Chelsea have to defend it. Shirky will be one to take it after the referee tells everybody to calm down a bit. It has been a bit antsy-pantsy and physicality. He's particularly digging out Caicedo for this one. He's basically saying, look at all these people around you, right? We have cameras everywhere. We know. You're playing it up with the cameras a bit, maybe. Shirky goes to Doku. Traditional number 10, 11. It's great to see almost a 1 to 11 again. Into the hands of Sanchez. He's actually done quite well to hold on to that, because it didn't come at the greatest angle. And Man City will have a chance to recycle possession from midfield. Pushing forward, Bernardo Silva. Another loyal servant alongside Rodri to that Man City side, which has seen so much changes over years and is a real testament to the longevity of some of these players if they do manage to feature in Pep's squad, because, you know, it's such a chopping and changing personnel. And that'll be another corner. Cucurella, as this time, put the tackle in to see it equal up in corners and City to have another one. Could a corner be what separates these two teams? Could well be. Haaland essentially is standing on the goal line. It feels a bit ridiculous, but it could well be a plan. Bernardo Silva to take it, wearing a red captain's armband. Haaland and Enzo Fernandez are hugging each other. Hooked over and well cleared. I mean, that was Nobody was even there where the defending blue, it might have been Colwell, headed it clear. So, wasn't a bit of a surprise, I must say. Pushing on again. Goes into the arms of Sanchez. Hit and hope is what Man City have become a bit. Although momentum has slightly switched into their favour, it must be said. See where Sanchez is highly favoured. You wonder if he's still going to be here after the summer. At Chelsea, that is. Cole Palmer has been adjudicated by Darren England to have been a bit overzealous in the tackle. And I think that is fair probably to say. He doesn't really want to have a conversation with him, to be honest. Which I think is fair. I wouldn't want Cole Palmer berating down my ear either. Okay, that's a bit more of a dubious decision. Reece James it is this time. He's accused of putting out the foul against Kovacic. Let's see that. He's given a push. He has given a push. I can see why the referee was quite close to it. He was close to the action. Hop forward. Where he's got it now. To Kusanov. There's no L. I don't know why I keep on adding an L into it. Pushing it together as a team. I would say great interception, but Haaland got it at the end, so maybe not as much. And Haaland's got it again in the penalty area here. A back heel, and what a goal. Cool and composed as you like. Semenyo just back-heeled it into the goal. There's no way that he meant that, surely. That was quite something. A spectacular goal to, get that breakthrough. Whew. I mean, great effort. And you know what? Haaland just showing how unselfish he is sometimes. Because that was something that maybe if he was a bit more of a selfish player, he would have taken on that shot himself. But he decided to put a cross in, and Semenyo just back-heels it in. I mean, it all starts in midfield, really, with a poor interception, which has ended up into Haaland's path. Haaland passes out wide to potentially Shirky, who's giving it back to Haaland, who's running in, and a back heel. Kukurea probably can do a bit better there. And I'm not sure why Colwell is not in front of Semenyo, who just gets a chance to backheel behind him. But it just makes it look like a perfect goal, to be honest. When it's a no-look goal as well, it's always something, isn't it? And I think Chelsea will be a bit dejected, and I think the FA Cup might be going up to the northwest of England for taking it out the hands of London and back to the northwest, which has been in so often, hasn't it? The city of Manchester, either the red side or the blue side. So, Kukurea it is to take a throw in. That is. Man City have suddenly started celebrating and coming to life. Which, you know what, you can completely understand. But why they weren't like that for most of the other game, I do not know. Onto the roof of the net it is, Enzo Fernandez. We were too focused on the crowd, on the BBC footage anyway, that it ended up for Farner. No, Colwell heading it on, and Enzo Fernandez doing an acrobatics. Bit too much effort, I suppose. But the Argentine nearly had, well, a typical Argentinian goal. And Chelsea will be making a substitute. Kukurea, his day is over. Pedro Neto will be coming on instead. Another one of them Wolves players which we've talked so much about. There's several of them involved in between these two teams. And probably speaks to where Wolves are now, because they haven't really managed to replace them. But Man City, absolute pace for days is the burners here for Nico O'Reilly, who is just not finding anyone. It's with Kovacic. It's gone with Doku. Palmer is so deep at times. And you almost feel like he's doing more defensive work. Has he actually become more of a box-to-box midfielder at this point in proceedings? It is worth asking a question. Would he better be employed in that role than your typical number 10? Some great riding of challenges there for Chelsea as they've currently got the ball. Enzo Fernandez gives it to Sanchez, who miscues it a bit, and he's a bit lucky that his teammate can help him out of trouble there. But Doku still has it. Kovacic surveying his options. Pushes it forward onto Doku. Queuing it on, and that's cleared quite nicely there. And it's gone to João Pedro, who less. And pushing forward is Pedro Neto in a great bit of early action. Guehi comes sliding in, getting a free kick. That's why you can tell he was brought on. He was brought on to make a bit of a difference and a bit more pace. But you can see what talent he does actually possess in his locker. Throw in from Palmer. And it goes all the way to Colwill. Fofana. We've got to deal with Haaland. Nico O'Reilly managed to get in the way of that. Palmer off the... I don't think it was someone off the screen had just gone rolling off, but I can't quite tell who it was. Nico O'Reilly 1-2 with Bernardo Silva to Doku. He's caught sleeping there a bit as Fofana, and it got to Nico O'Reilly, but he just needs to take a shot on the youngster. Pushing on, Hato. Hato's doing an amazing job up and down this wing. Going to get it? And that's potentially another penalty shout. Third one in a row for Chelsea. All of which have been thrown away. They'll go for seconds. Of course they will. Enzo Fernandez is with it. He lays it off to Pedro Neto, who whips a cross in. There's no one there for it. Palmer's saying, look, I'm not there. Why are you passing it there? And he'd be dead right to suggest such a thing. Casado. Pushing it on, headed clear by Kusanov. Haaland's dangling limbs are everywhere, but no foul given. Cole Palmer rushes into the penalty area, lays it off, cross comes in, it goes all the way across to Pedro Neto, who's got a chance to deliver another one in, but he opts for the safe route and goes back to his defensive area. Fofana with it now, pointing as ever. Colwill to Reece James. Reece James, come on, he just needs to ping it. He instead goes to Colwill, who will go to Fofana. I mean, now almost at the centre circle, and this whole passage of play has been pretty much wasted. Forward, they've gone this time. Another throw-in, though. Good area for a throw-in as well. Chance to leave that penalty opportunity. It was pushed over. It was a bit of an aggressive push. Again, I think Hato might have a chance to claim something there. I wouldn't have disputed it if it was given as a penalty. Palmer. Crosses it in. Heads up. Nico O'Reilly heads on, but doesn't get that far. I'm trying to remember what the player's name is, number 27, because I've completely forgotten it, and I can't be bothered to look at this sheet while we're in an attacking phase. Pedro Neto goes for a shot. Pushed behind for Reece James. Oh, it's Gusto, isn't it? He was in a battle with Doku. And Casado kicks the ball out, but did it go off Doku? That's a good question. Apparently so. Casado. Pass it to Enzo Fernandez. He's got to watch out for Haaland, who's very deep. He's got an incredible amount of pace as well, so always something to watch out for. Hato progresses it down to Neto. To Enzo Fernandez in midfield. Hooks forward to João Pedro, who can't quite get there. His shirt was being pulled, but nowhere near enough for a penalty. Gusto in a battle with Nico O'Reilly. Uses Gahey to steer it towards Doku, just being pulled to the ground by Caicedo. There's no need to do that. Is he Colombian Caicedo? Doku's not happy with that challenge at all. And to be fair, understandable why. He's just pulled him to the ground. I mean, potentially even a yellow card worthy. If it was further up the pitch, it would well have been. But alas, it wasn't. Nico O'Reilly. João Pedro is closing down the goalkeeper. Chelsea looking to close the netting for an equaliser is what I would suggest at the moment. Wonder what Prince William is thinking of this game. He's got a very neutral expression on his face. Obviously, his beloved Aston Villa is not in the game at the moment, but I'm sure he's still delighted that they managed to beat Liverpool last night 4-2. What a game that was. And a great block. Kovacic was the one who was trying to go forward. But it's been an interestingly intense game. It's been a cagey game at times. But actually, a lot of good football on offer. I have switched my view slightly. Chelsea have definitely improved that. And I would have to say, Chelsea probably were the team which more on balance deserve it. But obviously, Man City with the clinical lead. There is a player down with cramp for Chelsea, or injured or something. It's João Pedro. I think it's cramp. Which it's not worthy to stop the game, mate. Oh, I don't know. He's had a nasty slip. If that's a muscle injury, that could be quite serious. It's hard to tell if it's cramp or a muscle injury because the way he went, it wasn't great. A chance to get some tactical advice. I don't think this is the deliberate intention, though, of João Pedro, because I think it would benefit Chelsea more to be able to continue playing their game of football. Just no chance to look at that goal. It was such a beautiful goal. How he knew where to pick it out is quite something. And the absolute limbs in the Man City crowd. And the despair for Chelsea. Liam Delap has decided to be brought on for Reece James, however. That is an interesting choice. So it was João Pedro who is down injured, although he is now on his feet. Definitely a more of an attacking change for Chelsea. You can tell why. I think they're really desperate to get something now. Entering the final 7.5 minutes of normal time. Hooked into a throw-in. Gusto decides to go back to Colwill. Enzo Fernandez. Fofana back to Fernandez. Gusto with it's an interesting ball. It's a great long ball if he can get there, but I think James will get James Trafford will get there. Nico O'Reilly. To Doku, who has to take on Gusto. Great through ball to Nico O'Reilly. He's going to have to go on his own. Can he get across to Haaland? Coming across, Caicedo managed to take the pace out of it. Probably enough to stop Haaland because another one of his defenders recovered quite nicely. Chelsea now have to get themselves out of trouble. Enzo Fernandez to João Pedro, but João Pedro's easily dispossessed there. Man City mounting on some more pressure here. They're coming forward in a team now. Shirky. In it goes. Is that off the post? Or was it a save? I don't know, but Shirky's still got it. They're all having to go back defensively now. It goes out round to Bernardo Silva. Recycling possession. Man City have suddenly woken up after a bit of tactical advice from, well, you know, Pep Guardiola. Offside given? Potentially, he was offside. Just looking at that shot, it was a save onto the post, is what it was. Needed maybe a bit of a stronger wrist, if you ask me, but so be it. And that's a great save by Sanchez. We were watching the replay, and that was a phenomenal save there. Was it Shirky, maybe? Yet again, João Pedro is holding his upper quad. Clearly still not covered from it. It is Shirky, yeah. He's put his boot for it. Absolute golden opportunity. And a great save. Sort of like that for Sanchez. He's done well there. Good save. Garnacho's coming on. That will mark a end of João Pedro's day. I was a bit surprised, to be honest, that João Pedro was allowed to continue playing when they brought Reece James off for Liam Delap. I think a lot of people have mixed reviews on Garnacho. He's got to prove something in this game. I think a lot of it is fair. Enzo Fernandez whipping it downfield, trying to find Liam Delap, who can probably play a bit of a similar role. Oh, he's apparently giving away a foul against Guehi. Is he similar in the mould of João Pedro? It's hard to tell, isn't it? I mean, he was phenomenal at Ipswich, but I just think since he's moved to Chelsea, there's been substantial weaknesses exposed. But that chance earlier, Caicedo, for me, phenomenal defence has been. I've always rated Caicedo quite strongly. I mean, I think he came to Chelsea when, was it? It was one of the Brighton ones that they had managers. Was it De Zerbi? I can't remember. Came and took a lot of the Brighton players. A lot of times passed since then, a lot of managers as well. As is ever thus the Chelsea way. Bernardo Silva with it. And now they've gone back into their defence. 9 attempts for Man City to 5 for Chelsea. There's not been a lot of action, as I say, from the goal map. 4 shots on target for Man City, for only 1 on Chelsea. They don't necessarily paint the full picture, but it does paint somewhat of a picture of why Chelsea haven't managed to seize the initiative this game. I think a lot of the time they haven't managed to get off a shot of Chelsea, which is part of the problem. To win a game of football, you need to get a shot off. Maybe just a bit more confidence in that final third is what's needed. Shirky, though, has it now. Semenyo. And he's gone defensive in this, and it's all gone back to Kovacic. We've not got long left for Chelsea to get something from this game. Doku battling there and has managed to get himself a free kick. It was Gusto who was adjudicated to have done a foul, potentially. I mean, I think Man City can possibly consider themselves a bit fortunate. I don't know how many of these people in the Man City fan base there were around in the days when we were in the second division. You do question it, don't you? There was, in today's attendance, 83,337. A very, very decent showing. I mean, I must say, you can't write off Man City attendances and say it's been empty, because it has actually been very good this game anyway. Maybe people will say because they're all London-based, but I'm not to judge for that. Shirky. Passing it out wide to Doku. Crosses it in, and that's out for a goal kick. It's going to be nice and quick, I imagine, from the Chelsea goalkeeper. Or maybe not. if you've got 1 minute left on normal time, will probably be 3 or 4 minutes of stoppage time at least. But yes, there's certainly a lot of interesting discussion points in this game. A lot of ones revolving around potential penalty shouts. I would argue that if we didn't have VAR in the Premier League, would some of the players gone down as easily as they do? It's one of the things I think has been a bit of an ill consequence of VAR. One of many. Coming now forward, Erling Haaland's got it in the centre circle. What is he given there? I'm not entirely sure, but somehow it's come with Enzo Fernandez and some sort of set piece or another. I'm not sure what it was. Enzo Fernandez with it now. Gusto out wide. Hooks it in, Delap, and he's missed that catastrophically, has Delap. 5 minutes of added time. We're about 20 seconds into it. He should be doing far, far better in that position. I'm saying it now. If you're not even challenging the goalkeeper from there, it's high and wide. It's not a good effort. That could have been a shot on target and challenged Trafford. Could have potentially even been a goal. Some John Stones fans in the crowd. He's not actually playing today. He's on the bench. But has obviously been a very loyal servant recently. Well, he did used to play for Chelsea, didn't he? Could be wrong about that. Semenyo running down the field. And Caicedo has been adjudicated to have fouled him. Not long left to go. A yellow card has been brandished Caicedo's way. He loves a yellow, doesn't he? I'll have to see that on a replay because it didn't look that bad. But maybe it was. I think there's a lot to say for Darren England, whether you like him or loathe him. Shirky with the ball. Come on, take the free kick. Just stop moaning. I know you're obviously wasting time. Enzo Fernandez can't believe how stupid this whole thing is. And they've managed to get another free kick. That's just a stupid thing there. I think it was Hato. Absolutely stupid. It really makes you question, what is going on? This is obvious time-wasting tactics, ref. Get a grip of it. Garnacho manages to dispossess, well, a number of City players, to be honest, because there's a whole bunch around it. Fofana lifts it up in the air. I'm not sure that was a great move. I mean, City are just wasting every time now, which who can blame them? But Semenyo couldn't keep it in. This might be a good opportunity for Chelsea. Just do a long old throw. They themselves are wasting a bit of time. Where's the sense of urgency, lads? I mean, I think Chelsea have reconciled the fact that we probably aren't going to get something from this game. But you never know until the whistle blows. And that'll be a throw-in for Chelsea in a bit more of a better position. Taken by Colwill backwards. But for a great whopping long kick. Neto takes a shot which is blocked. It comes away to Doku, who will have acres of space to run into. A great tackle by Gusto. Pedro Neto's got it. Goes back to Gusto. Got a minute and 5 seconds left, but Man City managed to get the ball, and Haaland will run. It's 3v2. Doku goes and fields to Shirky, who's shirking himself away from players. It's actually, yeah, it's Shirky. And Haaland got it now. Enzo Fernandez trying to close down. He's frustrated. He's kicked it back. And is that going to be a free kick? I think it might be. Haaland is fuming at something. Can't quite tell what it is. He's really, really agitated him today. But he's got a massive frown on his face. He's fuming over something. I'm not sure what. Maybe his own teammates, because he was in open space and no one gave him the ball. And then he got the ball and just messed it up. Is he frustrated himself? I don't know. Or whether he did get the ball earlier. Either way, he's very angry. It's going to be a throw-in to... Have they won it? I think they've won it. Well done to City. I'm not going to say that it was a pleasant watch at times, but they've ground out a 1-0 win. Let's go through the sofa scores. It's not certainly been a classic. I think it's fair to say. Like, the two sides are average and roughly equal. 6.68 for Chelsea, who had a lot of momentum in that second half. 6.98 overall for Man City. If we're looking at Chelsea, they got a 6.8 for Sanchez, who, okay, although he did concede that goal, I don't think that was really on him. He made 4 saves in total. It was a very quiet game all the way around. 6.3 for Hato. He's been ranked as the worst player, along with Liam Delap, for Chelsea. I mean, he had 4 defensive contributions. He was dribbled past once. So that might be the reason why. I didn't rate him. I don't think he did that great of a job, but I don't think he did a bad job. I just think he was a bit average, maybe a bit below average for the occasion. Colwill on a 6.8. You can understand that. He was pulling the strings at times in that sort of central defensive region. But he didn't actually do that much. He only had 2 defensive contributions all around. Fofana on a 6.6. Bit of a quiet game. And are we going to talk about that horrific header from a corner, which went well wide? He had 8 defensive contributions, which I think he did quite well. 5 clearances. Defensively, solid job. 6.6 for Cucurella. I think maybe he's a bit of a Marmite person, I must suggest. As a midfielder or winger, I don't think he necessarily did the job. From a defensive output, even then, a bit questionable. So I struggle to see what he brought in that regard. But his physicality and his, well, he often was involved in a 2v1 or 1v1 even, actually, against Semenyo. So it was tough to call that. 6.6 for Casado. I don't think he did too bad of a job. Overall, he was just bang average. 7.2 for James, Reece James. He was actually marked the best player for Chelsea, which may be a bit odd. But his passing was absolutely great most of the time. But most of the time, they were backwards. A few times they had some really good passes, actually. He had 1 key pass. Only 1 accurate cross out of 5 he attempted. But a few of his progressive passes were quite good. A few glimmers of shininess, maybe. 6.6 for Gusto. He sort of appeared and then faded a bit continuously throughout the game. And 1 key passes and 2 out of 8 crosses successfully accurate, which is sort of the problem which was inflicted against Chelsea in this game. 7.1 for Enzo Fernandez. I thought he had a very good game. He always does. His shooting, well, he got just over the bar, didn't he? He had that acrobatic effort, which ended up onto the roof of the net. But other than that, he didn't have a lot. Again, bit indicative of Chelsea on a whole. 6.9 for a Cole Palmer. I thought he was a bit quiet, to be honest. He was a bit more box to box than I think a lot of people would have imagined him to be. He spent about as much time in his own penalty area as he did in the opponent's penalty area, which you don't really expect from your number 10. 6.4 for João Pedro. He just didn't get the service. I felt a bit bad for him, to be honest. He had 1 shot which he missed from a fast break, and that was it. He didn't get any service. I mean, he had to try and generate things himself at times. The substitutes for Chelsea is a 6.7 for Pedro Neto. He certainly livened things up. I thought he was very good when he came on. 6.3 for Liam Delap. The only notable thing was a horrible header, which all messed up. And Alejandro Garnacho on a 6.6. I don't think that was much he even did, to be honest, when he came on. For Man City, 6.6 for James Trafford. He clapped a clean sheet. Wasn't amazing. It was what it was. 7.0 for Mateus Nunes. Thought he had some good goal line clearances, a few diving headers, you know, the sort of thing. Defensively, very solid, and kept Cucurella and Fernandes and whatever out wide, where they were made less effective. 6.5 for Kusanov. I thought he was a pretty poor player all round for City. 7.6 for Mark Weahey. It just did the job. He's actually been given as man of the match because I think of his dependable nature at the back. It was certainly not a one for the attacking force. Although my personal man of the match would have been Semenyo. So we'll come to in a minute. 7.2 for Nico O'Reilly. I thought the youngster did a very good job, actually. I certainly think he's got great potential going forward. Well, he also looked great going forward when he was cool, calm, and some good dribbles into the penalty area as well. 7.0 for Rodri. He bumped him up a bit. I'm not sure about that. I don't think he was as good as they've necessarily laid on. 6.8 for Bernardo Silva. He sort of faded, didn't he? 7.5 for Semenyo. Even though they were trying to mark out, and 7.2 for Doku, both of them were trying to be marked out of the game. Both of them had some great tricky footwork. Obviously, Semenyo with that cool as you like goal. But yeah, I think both of them too can probably roundly applaud themselves for this one. 6.9 for Erling Haaland. He did get that assist, but other than that, was pretty ineffectual this game, actually. 6.4 for Marmoush, who was an incredibly quiet person. Hasn't quite lived up to the hype, let's say. 7.0 for Shirky. He provided that change that was needed in the game. I can completely understand why he's been given as well as he had. 6.7 for Kovacic. He was involved in some key build-up play at times, but it is what it is. And Man City can celebrate being this year's FA Cup winners. Few dubious penalties, maybe for or dismissed for Chelsea, but you know, that is sometimes where your cookie crumbles and you can't just rely on that as a scraps. But yes, thank you all very much for watching. I've been speaking for over 2 hours continuously now. If you are new around here, please do subscribe. We make tons of videos covering a whole range of things, shorts of me at non-league rounds. We've got my predictions. We've got various other things. But I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye for now.